applicable state and federal firearm laws, or by sale of the firearm at public auction to persons licensed as collectors, dealers, importers, manufacturers. The head or chief law enforcement agency shall dispose of the firearm pursuant to this subdivision only if the firearm has a unique legible identification number. Or they can maintain the firearm for training or experimental purposes, or transferring the firearm to a museum or historical society. So I'll pose this question. If you keep a firearm for experimentation or training, who owns the firearm? When an agency disposes of excess firearms, what's their policy on how they destroy them or dispose of them? All right. Disbursement of the proceeds of the sale. If the law enforcement agency sells the firearm pursuant to this, then the proceeds of the sale shall be retained by the law enforcement agency and used for law enforcement purposes. So that, with it being turned into the general fund, your chief could say, well, we can't turn this into the general fund because it has to be used for law enforcement purposes, so maybe set up a separate account just for that. But we're just talking about unclaimed firearms. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Hold this again. All right, so for crime guns, I'm not going to read it all, but the court may order a disposition of firearm pursuant to this subdivision only upon the written request of the head or chief law enforcement agency, and only if the firearm has a serial number in there. Then the proceeds of the sale shall be remitted to the appropriate county finance officer as provided in the general statutes to be used to maintain free and public schools. So all crime guns that are sold or wherever has to be to the school system, but your found guns can be kept by the agency.
For crime, for crime guns, does that talk about exchanging those or trading them in?
I don't think you can. Well, wait a minute. The judge has to pick one of these ways of disposing of it by ordering the firearm turned over to a law enforcement agency in the county of trial for the official use, sale, trade, or exchange by the agency to a FFL dealer in accordance with all applicable state and federal laws. So yeah, I guess they could.
You could exchange it and not, then you're not having a financial transaction to give to the school.
That's the way I'm reading it here. It says you can sell, trade, or exchange. That don't make much sense though. I mean, how is the school going to benefit from that? And we're better off exchanging them than selling them if we want to reap the benefits of it. Right. Right. So, yeah, I guess it could work out to our benefit there. That one is 1511.1. That's for crime guns.
So if a gun is seized as a piece of evidence in a crime and the case is resolved and the owner fails to come forward to claim his firearm, does it become abandoned property, and then are we at that point allowed to sell it for our benefit?
Are you talking about if the court orders the firearm returned to the defendant and then they fail to come and get it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm just speaking from my experience. If an owner fails to come get it, I send them a letter, a certified letter, and you don't get any response from that, then I take that and I write a new amended order that says that the owner was notified on such and such date. We gave them 30 days, 180 days, whatever you want to give them, and no one has came forward to claim it, or no contact whatsoever, so therefore it's abandoned. And then you ask the judge for an order to either sell it, trade it, whatever. I would still do it through the court system in that situation, not make it look like this is a gun that we found on the street. I would let the court make that determination.
I'm just wondering what other agencies are doing as far as the time frame for people to claim their property. Because when I first took over, the agency was like, we're going to give them 180 days to claim their property. And I was like, you know, we need to get rid of stuff. So I would like to shorten that. So then the chief said 3 days. And I was like, that might be too short. So I'm just wondering, and I could never find anything, to show, is there a set amount of time that you should give someone to claim their property? Because
Yeah, for the person to legitimately come back and claim it, if it's found, is 180 days, except bicycles. Bicycles, 90. Look it up. It's in there. It's right where we was looking.
now I understand that part, like it's in the state statute, we have to hold it for 180 days and then do the public notice. But like if I have several pieces of evidence, and I've sent people letters saying, hey, we've got your gun, we've got your wallet, we've got whatever, come and pick it up, and it's still right. We know who the owner is. I've sent a letter to them, or I've talked to them on the phone, and I said, when can you come pick up your property? We have it here, and they haven't shown up. So I understand that with the statute, we have to hold it 180 days before we can put it on, do the public notice, and another 30 days before the auction or how we want to sell the items. But how much time can you give do you still just have to tell the owner, hey, you have 180 days, come pick up your stuff? See, that's what I'm asking, like what is usually the norm for saying how many days you have to come pick up before it's considered?
We send them a letter right when we get it, and then we tell them they have 30 days. But if they call us and say, hey, I can't get there, then we tell them that we will hold it for 180 days. But if after that 180 days they don't call us and let us know that they're still trying to get there to pick it up, then we just dispose of it. But we do send them a letter and give them 30 days just so that they know to contact us, because if you give them 6 months, then you know what will happen.
Yeah. How many people give a 30-day notice? So I think that's pretty normal, 30 days. And then, of course, if they contact you for whatever reason, I give them extra time, because I've actually had people to call in and say, yeah, I want my stuff. But then they never show up, and I give them the extra time once I make contact with them by phone. And then once they reach that time, and then I go to the judge. And
Now, what if they, I send them the letter, because I do send a letter. I actually try to call them and send a letter. So what if they don't respond within the 30 days, and then they call back, and it's after the 180 days? Do they still have, is it still considered theirs? Do I still have to give it to them, or?
I would.
yeah, if you have it, I think it would be only reasonable to go ahead and let them have it.
Okay, so technically, they can wait until it's sold to pick it up.
Yeah, and I think that's reasonable. I mean, it is their problem. Okay, unfortunately, we got to wrap it up now, so we done good with this first hour.
And if we know, we always look just to make sure they're not in jail too, because if they're in jail, they're not going to get the letter or call us. So we'll hold it a few more, another 6 months or whenever they get out of jail.
And then they've gotten paper for safekeeping, because they can't take certain items, like they can't take a backpack to the jail. So sometimes officers are listed as safekeeping, but I'm thinking like, how long can this be safekeeping as well? I've got blankets and yeah, so
Yeah, that's going to be policy. And just so you know, if they're in DOC, you can send a letter through DOC, and they'll actually make sure that they get it. Okay, we got to wrap it up.
Thank you, Kim. We're definitely going to have more on it in the spring. I know there's more, we all need more clarity. We do appreciate Kim, though. Now we're going to move to Tim with Asheville PD. He's going to do our spotlight agency here. Everything working?
For the PowerPoint, does that work?